Today I set off for a job in Inverness and then realised that I was about an hour and a half early. So I've come for a wee drive to Drumlichty, which is just south west of the city itself. And it's a little community settlement. There's I think there's a couple of farms. I think there's a big house somewhere. The church is particularly interesting, which is where we are sitting outside just now and going to have a look at in a minute. But the landscape around here is beautiful. It's probably one of my favourite areas in the immediate Inverness area, and I won't have time to show you a great deal of that landscape today. And the weather's a bit rubbish anyway. But I think we'll do a video in the coming weeks and exploring it, because I just love this area and I don't come here enough, and I should. So I think next time I get a decent day and some nice light and I don't have any work on, or I don't have too much work on, this needs to be a target. There's so much archaeology. Just driving over, I saw one of the finest hut circles I have ever seen in my life. It was so well defined. It got my archaeology juices running. And there's a few other things I noticed on the way. There's some old ruins. I took a picture of an old bothy type place on the way over, which was awesome. It wasn't quite in this area, but it was just starting to get into it. Anyway, let's go and have a little look at this church, take some pictures. I really am travelling light today, because I wasn't really intending to do a video. I say, I'm just running early. So, I'll take my basic camera, my Nikon Z6 II, my 1430 f4s. We'll have a little play with that, see what we can take in here. The church itself, I will tell you a bit about it now because it's cold out there. Dates back to the 16th century, so it's a pretty old place in itself. But the site itself is much older than that, and I don't believe there has been any archaeology to look into it. At the edge of the graveyard, there's a really cool watchtower that was built in 1759, I believe. And the site itself is said to have been used as an encampment by the Jacobites on the way to Culloden. And on the side of the church, there are some, I think it's a church, I've seen them, somewhere in there, we'll go and find them. There are some scrape marks on the rocks where the Jacobites are said to have sharpened swords and arrows, using the stone as an impromptu grinder. So it's quite an interesting old place, this, and it's well worth a visit. Anyway, let's go have a look. So here we are. This is the bit of the landscape I was talking about, and this is the edge of the churchyard. This whole area is just fascinating. It's so rugged and full of history and archaeology. Anyway, this section here is I can't remember what you call these things, like a little private cemetery area for Clan MacGillivray, for Clan MacGillivray. So this is the first interesting spot you see here. So I can actually see this sign for the first time. So it's the clan chiefs, yeah. From, I'm trying to see the oldest one, 1727. So it goes back a little way. Some fine old stones in here as well. It's quite exciting. I think I might do a picture in here actually. So for this, I want to get low. I want to show as much of this as I can. And I think that'll do. There's not much interesting going on in the sky, so I kind of think I'm going to crop this one into a bit of a panoramic format. In fact, I might do a panel as well while we're here. I'm a big fan of the panoramics, as you may know. So that was the burial ground, the private burial ground for Hamlin and Delivery. There's not much photographic to get in there today. The light's pretty flat, but I think a mono could be quite nice in there. So now we're going to go up to the church proper and the graveyard. There's some cattle. That's a big beast. Big boys looking at me. I don't know what it is about this landscape here. I just found it very, very comfortable. So I'm trying to remember rightly where these sharpening marks are. I have a feeling there they are. So that's a pretty good example here, and you can see the grooves where I suspect that's an arrow or something's been scraped into the soft rock. It's just sandstone. This. Some more on this side, down here. There are probably others as well. I think we're going to try and get a picture of those, and it could do something quite nice. Let's pop you up here. Somewhere around there it looks quite good. What I'm wanting to do is get these scratches into one side of the frame and then show the graveyard coming out. I can see some others which are quite faint, but those are definitely the best of the markings. There's another burial ground, a private burial ground in there, which is the MacPhails in Inverness, I believe. I don't think we can get into the church, which is a shame. But anyway, let's go and have a quick look at this watchtower, because this is pretty cool. I do like this. So there we have it. The 17th century watchtower. 18th century, yeah, 1759. I think this was to stop grave robbers and such ne'er-do-wells. So we're going to try and get a picture of this. I'm just trying to find an angle that's going to work. And I quite like that. So again, I'm going to set it slightly off centre. I'm going to use the gravestones to contextualise it. And we'll see what we can do. Now, I'm not a big fan of putting artificial skies on, but sometimes for dramatic effect, I think it's probably quite worthwhile. I think there's another view here, which is going to work. We're going to kind of pop the watchtower in there and just have a few of these graves here, again to add context. And I can get a little bit of this yew tree maybe above me, just to frame it. I rather like that. In the past I've done a shot from here as well, taking in the church and the graveyard with this, I think it's a rowan, but it's so covered in lichen, it's really hard to tell. I did it last time later in the year when there were leaves, I can't remember if there were berries on it. It was a lovely day. But we're going to have a reprise, because this big rock in the foreground and the church and this tree just work together to add a little bit of context to this landscape. I might shoot this as a bit of a panoramic. So I think we're going to go 4 shots. We'll see how that looks. I know I say a lot about places being some of my favourite places around the area, but this is definitely up there with them. It's the anniversary of the Longhope Lifeboat Disaster today, which, with a lot of connections to the boat and to Longhope in general, and because I just happened to be on the North Coast today, I thought would come down and just have a little look at Pentland Firth. So I'm actually in Ray, famous for its nuclear power station, which is slowly being dismantled. I've never been down to the harbour here. I've been down to the beach a few times and found some Viking remains, but I thought, with today being the day it is, this would make a good excuse to come and take some pictures of the harbour, which I saw from afar, and it looks rather fine. There's some old fishing warehouses or something over there, and it's quite cool. So I like this big rock in front of me. I'm going to try and capture, I hate the word capture. I'm using it myself now, and I despise that word. I want to try and make a photograph, create a photograph, which incorporates this piece of fine bedrock into it. So I don't want to go too wide, and I want to capture again, I've said it again, god damn it, what is it with me today? I want to incorporate the old buildings at the far side of the harbour. So I think we'll go for that. I'm just wondering if I should do a panoramic on this actually, it might be quite nice. Bring it a bit closer. There we go. So what we're wanting to get is this rock here with the harbour in the background. We're going to have a little wander onto the harbour itself now. I've just spotted there's an old anchor up there, which is quite cool, but I love this hut down the bottom. And then this little clinker built boat as well, which is quite cool. But this hut is fantastic. Just if I can get a view that works for me. So this is what we're going to go for. I think there's a picture there that looks quite good.